Show. This is Mr. Pold.
I'm St. Jimmy.
I'm D.
And we are the Three Enginerds. We're not going to do the salute.
Okay, I was going to say.
Okay.
I was going to do it.
I almost did it. But
It's so close.
our fake sponsor this week is knee boards. When your hands get tired of typing, just switch to our hands-free leg typing system. Type with your knees with knee board.
Good thing I've got sharp knees for more
I haven't
precision.
quite figured out how that's going to work, but
This is like old school texting where you have to hit your knee and a certain number of times to hit the letter. Oh,
And
I
you
went
went-
past one. No.
Yes.
exactly.
Anchor Zachary.
So,
I went on a helicopter ride.
I know. Tell us about
I
it.
will show you the world. Actually, I was told I was not allowed to sing that during the whole flight because she
By
was
the
gonna,
pilot?
she would make me get out.
oh,
No, my
Oh,
wife.
the wife. Okay, that makes sense.
I figured I didn't want to get out mid-flight for singing. Plus, it would have interfered probably with the pilot's communication with the tower.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to
Which
do
every
that.
time they changed kind of general directions, he was giving them elevation and where we were, so that other planes wouldn't run over us.
Oh,
Which was
Yeah.
a good idea.
or Superman.
We were about 700 feet elevation for most of the trip.
700 feet, huh?
Yep.
That seems rather low.
the better to see things with
Oh,
How
on a
tall
sightseeing trip.
How tall of a building would that be? How many stories?
7.
Like 35
70.
stories.
Oh.
So it's pretty high.
okay. Did he hit any buildings?
When we got to Seattle, we were about the top of the Space Needle elevation.
Oh, okay.
We kind of did a half circle around it. Got
Cool.
to see a couple different stadiums.
I'm going to see.
They were
one.
empty.
Stadia.
I think at this point, stadiums.
You're talking about the Space Needle in Zimbabwe, right?
Right. Well, they built one there for the World Fair in 2000.
I'm going to be going to one of those stadiums
43.
tomorrow. That's why we're recording a day early.
Zimbabwe!
Stadia. Ignore this. Just look at this part.
You know, there's two ways to spell canceled. You either do 2 L's or 1 L. So if you like to
I've only seen it
waste
one
ink.
L.
Weird.
But what if I'm trying to conceal something? Like hide it?
What if I can sell?
You spell it with an S.
Oh,
Yes.
that makes sense.
And
With
1
an
L.
S.
2 L's.
W. I don't know. I thought we were just naming letters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I noticed on Facebook that the local soccer team is in the playoffs.
Football team?
Soccer. Yeah, football if you're not in America.
Isn't there,
Football.
I think their actual logo is something FC for football club.
Yes.
They're a football club.
Yes.
They play soccer.
Weird.
So
Weird.
I knew that my wife likes soccer, so
So
I
you
decided
soccer.
I would
I will
No.
show you the soccer.
no.
No.
So I bought tickets for us.
What stadium do they play in?
The one that the American football team plays in.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
Multi-use.
Mm-hmm.
The way you said that, I thought you were saying the plural and then afterwards. Stadium.
I
So
was trying to remember which one was
It'll
plural and which
be-
one wasn't.
I think it's the last major sport that I've seen played in person.
Was there?
I've seen football,
So the Dolphins?
American football. I've seen basketball,
Foosball.
baseball.
Did you see
Rugby.
professional basketball? Did you see it like in actual?
I did not see.
League game?
I haven't seen professional basketball. I guess
I've
I've
been
seen-
to a college basketball
I've seen
game.
preseason professional basketball.
I've been to both men and women's college basketball games.
So in
Weird.
Boise, the Utah Jazz came and played against the Kings in a preseason matchup. And so we got pretty good seats. We're like right around where the tunnel was, where the players came in. So we were really close to the bench even. These guys are huge.
They're
They
Well-
look even bigger than they do on TV.
Our local
They're
city
full-size
does
humans.
no longer has a basketball team. So, well, I guess they have a women's basketball team.
They do?
I think so.
Weird.
But I did go to a Boise State basketball game. So college.
No, I went to one
I'm
of those.
counting college in the sporting things.
College?
I also
Oh.
counted rugby. So
Collegia.
yes. So this will be the first soccer game I've gone to that didn't involve small children.
Oh.
Because I did coach a soccer
They got you,
soccer team of 4 and 5
You've
year
got
olds.
team.
Coach a soccer.
I think they scored
team.
1 goal all season.
Is that like a...
Did they do a celebration like Adam Thielen
I
did
think
in the
they
Vikings game?
scored accidentally.
What'd you do?
So I was watching the Vikings game, as one does, and I'm a Vikings fan, so I watched it.
Oh, okay.
Our wide receiver, that's one of the top receivers this year as far as catches, got his first touchdown catch.
Oh,
And I actually made somebody from my alma mater look bad, although it wasn't his fault, it was the safety's fault. Because the safety was supposed to come over the top in the end zone, and the corner thought he had underneath coverage. And they threw the ball, and the receiver didn't even move his footing. He just reached up and caught it like they were playing catch. And then turned around and did a soccer celebration because they were in Tinkingham
Oh,
Stadium over in England. So
yes.
he did slid on his knees and like pumped his arms like a soccer. It was funny.
I didn't know they did that.
And then you could see the guy from my alma mater run over to the safety and like chew him a new one.
Oh.
Like, you're supposed to be over the top. That's your fault.
Oh boy.
Bracket coverage
Yeah.
and whatnot. There's no back bracket. That's not called coverage at all.
I guess I haven't watched golf being played by professionals.
Does YouTube count?
No.
He's on live.
Yeah, I'm live games.
Oh, live games.
YouTube people are all dead.
You're dead to me.
Oh.
Well, you're looking at their past self.
So not their
They've
live.
been eaten by langoliers.
Sometimes it says live on the thing.
It means live.
Oh, they've lived.
They're telling you to get away from your TV. Go live life.
You blade.
Speaking of golf, so I was playing Tiger Woods golf, and I scored a -20 on
Nice.
18 holes.
You need to turn up the difficulty level.
No, I mean, it was difficult.
Sounds like it. Birdieing,
I played golf live.
At least birdieing every hole.
So I got 1 par and 3 eagles, and the rest were birdies.
Yeah, you're playing on.
Have you
too
gotten the
easy of a
double
line.
eagle?
I'm
yet?
not usually. I don't usually score that though.
Have you got a double eagle yet?
I have not, but my wife has.
Oh, you got to do it on the Wolf Creek,
Wolf
the
Creek.
Mesquite, Nevada one. Just where I want to play roll life someday. There's a par 5 you can cut the corner on if you hit far enough,
I wonder if that's where she
and
got
it lands
her.
on the green.
Oh, that might be where
So
she
you
got her.
putt, one putt, and you got a double eagle or a albatross, I believe is what they call it.
Yes, it is.
So I played golf for real life. I had a really bad Friday, and so I didn't work overtime, and I came home and went right over to the golf course right by our house.
Mm-hmm.
And I played the front 9. When I was teeing off or playing the first hole, I was by myself.
Mm-hmm.
There was 2 guys on number 6.
Yeah.
No, it was 7. I caught them. They were
You caught up to them?
Yes, I was warming up to them. They were warming up for the 10th hole when I finished the 9th.
Oh, wow.
And they didn't offer to let me play through or anything.
That's rude.
Yeah, and
So
they're
you
really
did
slow. I
anyways.
watched them actually when I was walking towards my ball. I looked over and was watching them when they're ahead of me. It was a small golf course.
Yeah.
And one of the guys like pulled a club slowly out of his bag and was like showing it to the other guy.
Mhm.
And the guy grabbed it and was like practicing a little bit. I was like, and this I got there at 3:45, and she said, "No, don't make me late. I shut the gate at 5:45."
Mm.
So I was like, I don't have enough time for this. So I decided there was a guy that just teed off on the first hole. So I decided to wait for him because he's by himself. And I thought I saw him go over to the tee off on the other side. And I hit 3 balls. The first one I hit not very well, out to the left, about halfway down. The second one hit a little better, out in the fairway. And then I worked on just relaxing
Mm-hmm.
and letting the club get farther away from my body. And hit a great one that went. I mean, it's like a 260-yard hole.
And
I think I
you
hit
the
it.
guy.
I hit it into him, I think. See, when I was walking up to the first ball I hit, he was on the green. I was like, how did I get back? I think he's playing multiple balls himself. So when I saw him, and I think he picked up my 3rd ball because I never found it. But I hit it straight down the middle, straight toward the green. Like, it's kind of a rise, so you can barely see the top of the flag.
What is it with people on that golf course stealing your ball?
I don't know. So anyways, he was on the 2nd hole at that point, by the time I finally got down to the green.
Mm-hmm.
So I jumped over to the 6th one.
Played them out of order.
Yeah, and played that one. That one's over a pond.
He also got a -20.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
And he only
On a
played
par
12
3
holes.
course.
I was playing 3 balls, hitting them, and it was fun. I started like relaxing and just like swinging the club more freely, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Because one thing people have told me is I'm very rigid and tense when I'm swinging.
That's also why your podcasting isn't very good.
I think so. But it feels like
I always hit the top
it
of the
always
ball.
feels like I'm gonna, if I get the club too far away and too
Need a taller
loose,
tee.
then I'm gonna miss. But I actually found the opposite to be true. And when I finally got to the 9th hole after doing that second round, right before it closed, and I hit a great drive. Kind of the fairways are really narrow,
Mm-hmm.
so it kind of curved off to the right into the trees. So I got up there and I found it, and I was maybe 50 yards from the green.
Mm-hmm.
Chipped it. It hit the edge of the green, rolled onto it's a 2-tier green,
Oh, yeah.
and the hole's on the top.
Mm-hmm.
They rolled into the bottom tier,
That,
and as everyone else is
ninth
getting
hole?
there, everyone else is getting into their cars, and I'm lining up. I hit it. It rolled right up the hill, right into the cup.
Awesome.
I ended it with a birdie. It was awesome.
That's
I felt
cool.
so good. And it's because I relaxed more. The first 9 holes, I was burning off stress from like Friday, so I was just
Oh.
not hitting the ball very far, but hitting it really hard.
See, my problem is I'm always worried I'm going to hit the ground, so I'm topping the ball all the time.
Yeah, and you need to, depending on what club. I watched a lot of golf videos of a British golf coach.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been trying to do some of the stuff. That's where I learned to put the club farther away from my body and actually straighten my arms instead of having them at an angle when I'm approaching it. And I've learned a lot about when you're supposed to contact. And it does help eventually.
Next week on Golf Talk.
It was fun though. I had a good time.
I didn't do any golf-related activities this week.
What?
That's too bad.
That's okay.
What did I do? Put my new carburetor on.
Oh, sweet.
It looks pretty snazzy.
Is it run yet? Or do you
Is it a
still
leak?
No,
Just kidding.
I still need to swap out some fittings
Okay.
and get a new choke cable.
Oh,
and
because
everything.
the intake kit or tube didn't.
There's a vacuum tube on the back that
Oh, okay.
originally was a pipe fitting, and now it's like a barb, for a hose. So I'm gonna take the other end and change it over to a hose. So
Because your inlet line, right? That was weird. Another one.
the gas inlet,
Yeah.
it actually fits. I just had to
Awesome.
bend the tube, and it screwed right in. So I was
Sweet.
really glad about that. But so to put the new carburetor on, I had to get an adapter because the bolt pattern's
Oh, right.
bigger on the new one, and it came with the screws to bolt it down to the intake manifold. I had to take out the old studs and bolt this thing down, and then it came with bolts that go up from the bottom and then nuts to hold the carburetor on.
Not long enough?
The nuts were coarse thread and the bolts
Oh.
were fine thread.
Oh my
Are you
goodness.
kidding me? That came in the kit like that?
Yeah. So luckily the nuts off the original carburetor fit the new studs.
Oh
Wow.
my goodness.
So it's all shiny and new, and then it's got these old looking nuts on there.
That's funny.
But yeah, everything like the throttle rod fit right up, and
Oh, perfect.
it's
That's
just
always nice when things work
the
like
choke cable's too short, so I gotta I had read that some people had that issue, so I'm gonna get a new one and new air cleaner, and it'll be good.
that. Excellent.
I'm excited because the rain is going to return. Well, it was raining today. It would have been nice.
I know I need to finish my shed.
It's supposed to rain tomorrow, I hear?
It's supposed to be Saturday and Sunday at least. I'm not sure about tomorrow.
So I'm hoping this weekend I'll have it going.
Sweet.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, we're planning to see Thor Ragnarok this weekend.
Me too.
Not me.
You're going to see it at the theater?
Yeah, we're going on a double date.
Whoa. You and 2 women? Oh, wait.
Yep.
Me plus y'all too.
I told my wife pick one of her friends and
That would be an awkward
with
conversation.
another couple that we're friends with. But they moved to a nearby town, so we don't see them as often.
Oh, okay. Cool.
They should be on the table by the pizzas.
Oh boy. Just use pizza.
Pizza drops.
No.
Just squeeze it till the liquid comes out.
Pizza drops.
Shall I
Pizza.
share?
Pizza? Yeah, bring it on up here.
Yeah, Tracy's a classic red shirt. I'll go find it.
Thank you.
All right.
Maybe.
If I can
All right.
get out of
We'll
the way.
vamp while you're gone.
Let me just go through the hole here.
We may have to edit this out.
Maybe. We'll see. So, what do you want to
So,
talk
St.
about?
Jimmy, what should we talk about now that DVD's gone?
Well, I don't know. Everything I have to talk about is for later
the show?
segments.
For later in the show?
I guess I could tell you a story now instead of for Nerd Cred.
Oh, is it one that...
It's not really
doesn't
Nerd
have to
Cred.
do?
I just thought it was funny, and I didn't have anything else.
Oh, I guess I have some nerd cred, but anyway.
So my coworker, Rob,
Yes, I know him.
he's retirement age,
Right.
and for some reason he had his pill thing out of his backpack, and he was like, "Okay, guys, if I have a heart attack, I need to eat these 6 baby aspirin. They're, chewable."
And like, we're gonna have to chew for you?
My coworker was like, "Well, what do we like bash him up?" And he's like, "No, I have to be conscious, to chew them." And I was like, "Yeah, if you're unconscious, then he'll chew them for you and just mama bird them into your mouth."
That's funny.
That sounds gross.
Yeah,
I'm back.
All right.
Took it on the transporter. That would have been easier.
yeah.
Yes. Oh, that reminds me. I did have another thing. Well, I guess I
Oh,
could
I
say it for nerd
ruined
cred.
my stuff. I wasted my stuff.
I can... Here,
We can
here,
do
I'll
it for
type
nerd
it for
cred.
nerd cred real quick,
All right.
so I don't forget.
Oh, we didn't talk about Halloween.
Oh yeah, that happened.
Weird.
I didn't do anything for
I
Halloween.
didn't see my oldest
passed out.
son at all.
I just passed out candy.
Oh, that's nice.
I saw him.
Yeah, he didn't do trick or treating this year.
He came
Oh,
to
he's
our
kinda
trick or
old.
treat.
Oh. So did he get candy?
Yeah.
Oh, he didn't
He
come
just-
home with
he
it.
left
He
it
ate
here.
it all. Oh.
Oh,
I'm going to take it if you don't take it.
Is it
We-
still here?
Did you ask him?
Because he was here earlier.
We
don't know.
specifically bought Three Musketeers.
Oh, those are good. I had a bunch of those.
I don't personally care for them, but in honor of the Stranger Things season 2, if you haven't seen that,
I've only seen season episode 1. And I heard you finished it, so.
well, yeah, the second day. I'll get to that.
I'm reading the Three Musketeers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
D'Artagnan,
yeah.
Aramis, Porthos.
Yeah.
And
Athos.
Athos.
I remember the name D'Artagnan.
D'Artagnan?
I like Three Musketeers candies.
I don't like them because there's not enough nuts in it.
There's
not
no
even
nuts
nuts.
in
I
it.
know exactly.
I like Snickers, personally.
My
I do
favorite
too.
is Baby Ruth.
Oh, I like Baby Ruth. Anyway, anything else about Halloween? You're still dressed for Halloween?
Yes, this is my costume. I
Did you
fixed
wear-
it this year.
Oh, you didn't wear it to work.
I did not.
I
That
saw
would've been
people
cool.
at work on Halloween
I
dressed up,
Me
I
too.
which I
almost
think is weird.
Yes.
was dressed up in my other engineer costume. My friend and mentor, when I first started where we work, who's retired now, I have a costume I wear for him. I have a blue plaid shirt that I wear tucked in with a brown belt, blue cardigan, which I have a blue cardigan, and my glasses. And I go as my old mentor.
That's funny.
In fact, people call me his name when I'm wearing my. There's a joke when you're for Halloween. I did dress up as him,
Yeah.
and my wife found the blue cardigan and bought it. But now I've realized when it's cold in the office, it's quite comfortable. So I will wear it around the office, and they'll call me his name.
That's funny.
Shout out to Fred.
I just wore my When in Doubt Enginerdy Show t-shirt
Nice.
on Halloween.
So my son asked me to bring home my pocket protector from work, so he could use it for his nerd costume.
Ah,
I just wore my normal clothes.
yeah. Well, We're thinking about next year maybe having a Halloween party at our
I
house.
would like. That's awesome.
So
I would go. I wanted to do one at our house this time, but then my son's like, "I have friends over," and
Oh yeah.
so I just after the trunk or treat, I didn't have any plans there. I think your son and my youngest son stayed for a party there
I don't know.
with my wife.
He got home
and
really late. Is all
My
I
other
know.
son, and then oldest son Zach had friends here, and I was the only one left without any plans. So I just came in the podcast studio and watched Stranger Things
Nice.
episode 1.
You could have come to my house and watched movies with us.
I didn't even think about it. I should have.
I didn't know you weren't busy. I
I went to bed at 9:30.
Oh wow.
Weird.
Yeah, it was weird.
I got lots of compliments on my pumpkin.
I almost bought a
Cool.
pumpkin too. I was gonna make a Vulcan
Oh, that would be
Pumpkin?
cool.
pumpkin.
Mine said Star Wars.
I saw it on Facebook.
It was our show art last week.
Smoke. Yes.
So,
Cool.
yeah. Lots of fun. I always get compliments on my pumpkin every year.
They're always usually pretty creative. And your younger son's one that he did by himself was a pretty
Yeah.
good pumpkin.
Yeah. The trick is getting him to stop when it's done.
Yeah.
Because the year before it looked really good, and then he just kept cutting on it until it was nothing. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, it looks good. Take the knife away or whatever he's using.
Awesome.
Little saw thing.
So
Well-
you guys already do horticulture while it's going?
Yeah.
No.
Oh. I was like,
All right.
hasn't gone that long.
Let's do some nerdiculture.
Let's do it.
So I wanted to talk about
Just do
a
it.
movie franchise that has different characters featured in these different movies,
Ace Ventura?
and then they have crossover movies.
Oh.
And
Are you Marvel or DC?
I'm actually talking about the original universe that happened back in the 30s.
In the 30s?
What?
Yes,
In the 1900s?
1930s.
That's the last century.
Man, that's like not that far from being.
Jimmy
100
Doohan
years
is only
ago.
10 years old.
It's referred to as the Universal Monsters.
Interesting.
So they had movies back in the 30s,
Werewolf,
40s, where they
vampire?
had Dracula, The Mummy, The Invisible Man, Werewolf, Frankenstein, all had a series of movies.
Right.
So let me run through some of these. So like in 1931 they had Dracula. A few years later they had Dracula's daughter. A few years after that they had Son of Dracula. The Mummy had multiple movies starting in 1932. Invisible Man had multiple movies starting in 1933. Werewolf, 35. Frankenstein, 43. Wait, no. I got that wrong. Frankenstein was 31. And they had some common actors that played in all these different movies. Like, you might have heard of Boris Karloff.
Yeah.
Bela Lugosi.
It was vampire, right?
Lon Chaney and Lon Chaney Jr. Yeah, so before Marvel had their universe, there was this monster universe back in the 30s.
That's cool.
And it was kind of cool. So I watched Young Frankenstein on Tuesday,
Good movie.
and that's a movie that spoofs all 4 of the Frankenstein movies that came out in the 30s.
Oh,
And 40s. So, of course, there's the original Frankenstein that came out in 1931. And in that one, there's a hunchback named Fritz, who's the assistant. And he drops a brain and ruins it and gets a brain of a criminal to use instead.
And Abby something.
Yeah, so that's where that
That's funny.
thing came from, which is funny because he has the brain of like Hans Delbruck, and then he sees himself in the mirror and he scares himself and drops it. It's Abby someone.
yeah.
Also in that original Frankenstein movie, Frankenstein meets this little girl who's throwing flower petals into a lake, and so he plays along with her, and then he throws her in the lake and she drowns.
Whoa.
So in Young Frankenstein, he meets this little girl throwing petals into a well, and she's like, "Oh, we're all out of petals. What should we throw in next?"
Mhm.
And he kind of gets this look on his face. But yeah, so then Bride of Frankenstein came in 1935, And in that one, the monster comes upon an old blind hermit, like the
Played by what's his name?
Lex Luthor, Gene Hackman.
Gene Hackman.
Gene Hackman plays the old blind guy in Young Frankenstein.
He's funny.
Oh,
That also features the Bride of Frankenstein that has the white streaks in her hair. So in Young Frankenstein, Frankenstein's fiance gets the stripes in her hair after she, is kidnapped by the monster. But in Bride of Frankenstein, the movie, they actually create a woman Frankenstein for the Frankenstein monster. Or, I guess, Frankenstein's monster. Frankenstein is the guy. Let's see. Son of Frankenstein is 1939. And in this one is the first time we see Igor. That's the first appearance he makes in the mythology. It involves the son of the original Dr. Frankenstein, who comes and lives in the castle of his father. And that one also has an inspector with a fake arm.
Was he good at darts?
In the Son of Frankenstein, he ends up grappling with the Frankenstein's monster and has his fake arm pulled off. If you watch the Young Frankenstein, at the end they shake hands and his arm comes off. So that's, And then finally the Ghost of Frankenstein in 1942, where the ghost of Dr. Frankenstein appears to his second son and tells him that he needs to put a good brain in the Frankenstein monster. And they end up putting Igor's brain in there.
Interesting.
okay.
Well, and Igor wanted that to happen.
That's his own fault for dropping the original brain.
Yeah, because in Son of Frankenstein, Igor is actually kind of controlling the monster a little bit, or goading him into killing people.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I thought that was kind of cool, reading up about Frankenstein. And you guys know the story of how the Frankenstein book got written, right?
Yep, I'm actually reading it right now.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
It's totally dissimilar to any of the movies.
Written in letter form, right?
Yes.
Okay, it's kind of like Dracula.
No, it's they find Dr. Frankenstein, and he's telling the story to the ship's captain. Or something.
Right. And I think it's Dracula is the one that's written by letters.
Yeah, he's writing letters also to somebody else.
Oh, okay. So the story, and that was written in 1818, and it's considered by many to be the first science fiction novel.
What I found interesting is when they introduced the monster, it was almost like the tone didn't change. It was just like, oh, there was this monster, we created this.
Yeah. But apparently, so Mary Shelley and her boyfriend at the time, Percy Shelley, she wasn't Mary Shelley at the time, but Percy Shelley, Lord Byron, and Claremont, and John Polidori.
Several of those were like legitimate writers.
Well, like Lord Byron wrote like Don Juan, I think, and some other. He was a famous writer of the day. But this was in the summer of 1816, and I guess there had been a volcanic eruption the year before, which caused there to basically be no summer that year in 1816. And so they were all at someplace, I think it belonged to Lord Byron at Lake Geneva, Switzerland.
Yeah.
And they decided they were going to see who could write the scariest story. And it sounds like, well, I couldn't find if all of 5 of them wrote something.
It seems like
but I know 3 of them did at least.
Yeah, some of them didn't.
Yeah, so Percy Shelley wrote like 5 different ghost stories, like real short ghost stories. Lord Byron wrote a small little thing about vampires. And then, of course, Mary Shelley wrote the Frankenstein book. And she had a little bit of help from her husband, like editorially. And some of the ideas came from discussions that the group had.
Yeah, because at the time there was medical doctors talking about, or, doing demonstrations of bringing life. Basically, they're just pumping electricity through corpses.
Well,
cause them to twitch and stuff.
So this little piece that Lord Byron wrote about vampires, apparently John Polidori, who was there, also used that as a basis to write a book called, or a short story called The Vampire. And it was actually attributed to Lord Byron when it was published. It was published without permission in some magazine, and they
Oh.
attributed it to Lord Byron. And so they had to go through lengths to say, no, it wasn't written by Lord Byron, it was written by this other guy. But
The
a
other
lot
guy
of
might
people...
think if Byron gave him the money for the sales, he probably would have been fine with someone more famous' name being on it for that.
Yeah, well, that's what got it selling, is because his name was on it. But that short story, The Vampire, kind of fixes the idea of a vampire that's like aristocratic and
Oh, right. Before that, they were like a couple of like or werewolves, right? Where they're like demon creatures that
and
break
so
into a house at night. And
even Bram Stoker's Dracula can draw from this short story, The Vampire. So it's kind of cool that this little meeting spawned both vampires and Frankenstein monster.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so now Universal, I think it's Universal, but anyway, they're rebooting the monster universe, and it's going to be called the Dark Universe.
Oh, that's cool. They're going to do movies and stuff?
Well,
there's a Mummy movie
the Mummy
out now.
is considered the first of the
The
Dark...
new Mummy one?
Yes, the new Mummy is
Tom
considered the
Cruise.
first
I
of the
haven't
Dark
seen it yet.
Universe
I
ones.
wanted to watch it.
I watched it at Halloween at night.
Oh, guess what? Oh,
while we were passing out candy. Yeah. I guess there was some
I passed out from
vampire
candy.
movie that I don't even know the name of that they were hoping to kick off this whole thing, but
was it Dracula 2000?
I don't know.
No, there was a different one
That's
that
what I
was,
watched.
Dracula
there was
loving it?
There was a Dracula one not too long ago.
Okay.
Where it kind of portrayed him as a kind of a hero at the beginning. They got duped by a demon.
There was. It had. I saw that.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
So the new Mummy has Tom Cruise and Russell Crowe in it.
That wouldn't really be in the same universe as the Dracula movie we saw because that was like period time.
Right. So they're gonna have other movies in the Dark Universe, all with the same kind of, well, all considered part of the Dark Universe. In fact, they've got Johnny Depp already signed up to be the Invisible Man.
Cool.
Well, speaking of mashups, back in the 40s, they had mashups with the main monsters in them, like Dracula, Frankenstein's monster, and
the
werewolf.
Kind of like Godzilla and Mothra.
Yeah, I actually wrote it down here. They were called, let's see.
I think I've seen
Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman in 1943. Yeah. Then there's House of Frankenstein that has all three of them in 1944, and then House of Dracula in 1945 that also has all of them.
When was the, what's the water guy?
Aquaman.
No.
The Loch Ness Monster.
Loch Ness, no. Oh, dang it, it's on the tip of my tongue.
I know. Can't think of it.
The Black Lagoon?
Yeah. I watched that on
he was
Laserdisc.
In the 50s, I think.
Okay.
And they also consider, like, Phantom of the Opera and some movies based on some of Poe's works back in the 20s.
As monster
part
movies.
of the Universal
genre.
Monsters. So, yeah, it sounds like they're going to reboot that and do a... Well, and the way the Mummy's set up, I won't spoil it, but you can see how they could use that stuff from the Mummies and their underlining thread through the rest of the movies too. So, yep. So that's what I was fascinated by this week.
That's cool.
Frankenstein's monster.
I really like the underworld movies.
Yeah,
vampires and werewolves.
Yeah, I watched them.
Ambivalent.
Just indifferent.
Oh.
I don't know. I kind of feel like vampires have been overdone.
I like Blade.
Well, it's interesting how they've kind of... I mean, you read, like, Bram Stoker's Dracula, and it's totally different than modern vampires, because he could go out in the sun.
Mm-hmm.
He actually turned into, like, a wolf. And it was quite different than this thing where
Weird
one
bite.
bite from a vampire and suddenly you're a vampire.
Right.
It was,
Well, that's not what modern vampires are, but they have to feed you their blood for you to turn.
well, it depends, because in
Yeah, it's not-
Underworld and a lot of other vampire shows I've seen, they just bite you and you turn into a vampire. Or the same thing with werewolves. You get bit by a werewolf and suddenly
I've
you're
seen
a
that more
werewolf.
with werewolves, and yeah.
There was a show. What was that? It was a Netflix original. It was called Hemlock Grove.
Oh yeah, I love that movie.
That was pretty good.
I finished it. It was good.
It kind of tied in werewolves and vampires and stuff. And then there was a British one. It had
Almost Human.
no. It had the chick in it that played Rose in Doctor Who,
Oh,
and it had
Billy Piper.
yeah. Who else was in that? Anyways, what was that called?
I don't know if
I like the Almost Human one because
Billy
Almost Human there was a werewolf, a vampire, and a ghost living in a house. There was a British version, and then I watched the American version, which was a little bit different. I really enjoyed those shows.
I think
Anyways,
I tried that and that just wasn't my cup
That
of tea.
show I'm thinking of had Frankenstein. It had
Abbott and
werewolf.
Costello meets Frankenstein? Oh.
Yeah.
no, it was a series.
Oh,
Didn't the Three
It had like witches.
Stooges
and-
meet some of the monsters?
probably.
I'll have to figure out what that show was, but it was pretty good. It had Dorian Gray.
Oh.
Are
Heard of him?
you talking about what was that Netflix show? That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Penny Dreadful.
Yes, Penny Dreadful.
That is a
Oh.
very good show. It's awesome.
It was like a monster mashup thing. So
Yeah.
Huh, interesting. And that's nerdiculture.
Awesome. Good job.
that was good. Well, onto a completely different subject for Technergy. These researchers at the University of British Columbia are making earthquake-resistant concrete.
Interesting.
So it's basically concrete that's got quite a bit of fly ash in it, which is a byproduct of burning coal. And it also has polymers mixed into it in a special way, and it's a spray-on. So this isn't something you would build a wall from scratch out of. This is something that you apply to an existing wall to make it withstand earthquakes.
Well, that's a good idea for pools because they do have a product that they use for like pools. They can shoot concrete basically onto.
Oh,
But I think it would probably be brittle like concrete would be. So this is a good idea.
yeah, this is interesting. They've already got a school, like an elementary school, that they're going to go retrofit. It was a school, and they're like, hey, we need to make this building earthquake resistant. And so they hired this group of researchers to come spray on this coating. So they spray it on with just like a handheld sprayer, and they put it on about a centimeter thick, and it makes a normally brittle wall flexible.
So have they? Did this come from their student researchers trying to make a superior concrete canoe?
No, this was actually
Because that's where a lot of civil engineers play with lightweight concrete. Is building a concrete canoe.
So
Like
this came out of a group that is they call them the Canada
column.
No, what do they call them?
Colombians.
The Canada India Research Center of
Columbia?
Excellence. So it was a group of Canadian and Indian researchers that
Canadian,
are
eh?
housed at
It's only countries that have MDs and A's in it.
the University of British Columbia, and this was something they came up with specifically for schools in parts of India that are in highly seismic areas.
I could tell it was Canadian even without saying Canadian because they spelled center wrong.
Yeah, they use centimeters and stuff.
What?
That's why I said they applied it a centimeter thick.
That's because earthquakes are metric.
Actually, you want to know what they really said? They said they applied it 10 millimeters thick.
Okay.
I was like, I'm
What?
not saying that.
10 millimeters?
That's like when you say, oh, take a 1,000 milliliters. Or, no, what do they say? Milligrams. 1,000 milligrams of this medicine. Could you just give me a gram of it?
It confuses people.
How thick is the plywood? Oh, like 250 thousandths.
Quarter of an inch?
That was 2,500 thick. 2,500 inches.
We do say 250 thousandths,
I
but
know.
we use thousandths more than we use hundredths.
I know, but usually don't measure plywood like that.
Oh, that's true.
No, I'm saying 2,500ths.
Yeah, you
It's
don't
a
use
quarter
that
inch.
either. If you were going to say it in decimal, you would use thousandths.
I was saying in fractions.
It's 1,000 thousandths.
That's basically what they did. I don't know. Maybe that's what they do in Canada. They use millimeters.
Well,
over
if you're using
centimeters.
millimeters for everything else, and it's just part of equations that have millimeters in it, you're going to stay with millimeters.
Well, I think the reporter just probably didn't realize, or maybe it's close to a centimeter.
No, it's like, I don't know.
If it was me and somebody said, "Oh yeah, we put it on 10 millimeters thick," I would instantly think, "Okay, it's a centimeter."
But oftentimes we'll say like 36 inches instead of 3 feet.
That's
If
true.
you're talking stuff that's measured in inches.
Or a yard.
Just like when you say your kid's 17 months old.
No, he isn't.
It's like 18
Well, he was at one time.
years.
Yes. No,
You
months.
can't conclusively prove that.
Well, I can't
Anyways.
prove anything.
So what they did is they built a wall out of
What?
cinder blocks.
Like cinder
And
blocks or they CMU?
I don't know. I can't tell by the picture. I'm not a civil engineer.
It's like concrete
He's
masonry.
uncivil.
And they coated. Well, they built two walls. One of them they coated with their
Did they reinforce the
Stuff.
Was it within
the
code?
walls? Did
their.
they grout?
I'm assuming they're built.
They did a
for
grout job.
code. And they subjected them to the equivalent of a 9.1 earthquake, which is
Wow.
what hit Japan in 2011.
What do they measure
And
earthquake
not
strength
many
in?
people died, right, in that one? Because Japan
Um,
designs their buildings, so they.
I think the tsunami probably killed more people than the earthquake.
Where this is going to be great is if they can get this to the third world countries where they build a lot of non-reinforced masonry walls.
Mm-hmm.
That's like
This
what
will
they were
save
talking about
lots of
northern
lives.
northern India.
Oh, right. I bet a lot of their stuff is that way.
Yes, and they have a lot of earthquakes up there. So, anyways, the wall with this stuff sprayed on it, they call it EDCC, which stands for
The name a normal wall makes, or sound a normal wall makes when it's fracturing.
eco-friendly ductile
Are
Cementatious.
you sure it's not eco-friendly?
cementitious composite.
Hello.
It's eco-friendly because it uses fly ash to make up like
It's pretty fly for ash, huh?
70% of the weight.
Pretty fly for.
So it's using an industrial byproduct instead of something that produces
And it
carbon
has the
dioxide.
added benefit of probably getting more research grant money because it's
Yes.
environmentally
There's
friendly.
echo in it.
You put environmentally
Echo.
friendly in the name and you get brownie points.
I guess the logo is green.
Doesn't
have a logo.
I don't see a logo.
Just because it's green.
Would you say they're logoless?
Well, I can see the color green, so
You have to toss me.
I don't think that.
Don't tell me else.
Anyway, I thought that was really cool.
That is cool. I like that. You're right up in my alley at that article.
Well, I almost did one about electronic circuits that can be printed so that they will dissolve when exposed to humidity.
Why would you want that?
I don't know. That was what I was going to ask you guys. The only thing I could think of would be that you put it in a sealed device, and if somebody tried to take it apart, it wouldn't work anymore.
You could use it in a inflatable life vest. So if it gets wet, it breaks the circuit and inflates.
Yeah, you could do that. That's a good idea. But they already had things that did that in water. This was going to do it in air. That was a new thing. So,
an auto-opening umbrella.
It only
Yeah.
works once.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, but it has a pack of
You
replaceable
replace the cartridge.
You sell a cartridge for $60.
Yeah.
Oh no, I had that in my backpack upside
The
down.
umbrella only costs $5.
Yeah.
You just have to replace the cartridge every time.
That's
That's the
funny.
only way it can open. Anyway, I think things like this are cool because they can do it to existing buildings and make them safer.
Right, that's a good idea.
You could probably even spray it on an umbrella. It'd probably make it a lot heavier though.
Yeah, I would think so.
You need your umbrella to be.
Earthquake
Twinkle.
resistant? What if it's rainy when the earthquake happens? Huh?
That's true. Good point.
You
You
could,
could, oh,
if stuff's falling off
you
the
could
building onto your
you could
head.
combine the two, and if there's a tsunami that has moisture, it causes
Oh.
the concrete stuff to come out.
Hopefully you're just not standing right next to the
It just pours down the side of the building.
Oh,
Yeah,
Over
see
your
people like
case.
stuck in there.
like
I was
carbonate.
imagining like a cannon that launches it out at the wall,
That'd be good too.
and you're walking by.
That would be funny.
No, I'm earthquake resistant. We've just decided in my office that if there's a bad earthquake, we're just gonna die because
Hey,
climbing under the desk isn't going to do anything.
oh, the worst building at work is the one I'm in,
Yeah,
where they have all the structural engineers.
right. But so do you think in that building, climbing under your desk, if the building was collapsing, would help?
No,
Right. So
there's
it's
a
like
big, huge metal beam.
our building is all huge metal beams.
There was a joke in my last building that if there's an earthquake, because it was like a backwards pyramid, so my desk was around the edge of the building, so
Oh,
it's
yeah.
actually over the street. I was like, first one to muster, first one quick, somebody down there.
Yeah. That's technology. Did I say that?
No, he didn't.
Oh, good.
And now the news. So
All right.
I kind of went on a rambling round through the news until I decided on what my topic I'm going to talk about.
Okay, that's acceptable.
Just one clue.
Oh, you're
It's
wearing
about
it.
the movie Clue.
No.
Oh,
So I told somebody about Gene Roddenberry going into space. So I did search to find out, make sure that I was not telling a falsehood. Post-mortem, when he was ashes.
right.
So I found out there's other notable figures that have gone to space post-mortem. And one of them happens to be James Doohan, the guy that played Scotty.
Right.
In Star Trek.
In Star Trek. That's correct.
Not in something else.
Did I say Star Wars?
No,
No.
Oh,
I was just wondering why we had to specify,
I'm just
just in case
being
people
silly.
didn't know who Scotty was.
Yeah.
The original Star Trek.
yeah, TOS.
That's the TOS uniform that DVD's wearing. That was Scotty's
So-
uniform.
And seeing that on there, then we did, clicked on the link, whatever, brought the Wikipedia page for him, and it had his place of, or his final resting place was kind of confusing because it wasn't a city, it was a region,
Mm.
which led me to dig further, and I found some cool information about him, so I dug further and got even more cool information. So I'm going to talk about James Doohan.
Cool.
Okay.
So he's born James Montgomery Doohan, which I recognize
Oh.
that from Scotty's first name.
Yeah, that's how they got the name.
He actually named him after his great-grandfather. His
Oh.
mother's maiden name was Montgomery.
Interesting.
And his father was born in Belfast, Ireland, and was actually pretty cool himself. I swear, James Doohan's life is like a movie script, which they make him an actor. So it's not
And now his
surprising.
son stars in Star Trek Continues, the
Yeah,
fan Star Trek show
That's true.
that tries to recreate
some
exactly
other of
the
his
original
sons were,
series.
one of his other sons played a young engineer in the motion picture.
Oh,
He ended up dying from a radiation burn.
is that in the motion picture or is it number 2?
This is in the motion picture. Maybe it's number 2.
Was he transported inside out?
No, that was
that
not him.
was the original. Or
That was
the
his daughter. No.
motion picture.
So his father, William Patrick Doohan, was born in Belfast. He was a pharmacist, veterinarian, dentist, who also invented one of the early forms of high octane gasoline.
Wow.
Oh, cool.
So it comes from a long line of cool people. I think his grandfather on his mom's side was like chief constable of Ireland or something.
Wow.
So before he was born, they moved to Canada, and he was born in Vancouver, BC, in
I've been there.
March 3rd, 1920.
I could find that on a map.
So 1920,
Wow.
a long time ago.
Yeah.
No, that's I was gonna say in the country far, far away, but I didn't.
That was almost 100 years ago.
Also, his father was a serious alcoholic. He's Irish.
Nope.
It's a stereotype.
Yeah, it's a big stereotype. Although James Doohan followed in his father's footsteps.
Oh yeah,
Yes. So when he was young,
that Romulan
James
ale?
Doohan was a pilot for the Canadian military in World War II in the 14th Field Artillery Regiment of the 3rd Canadian Infantry Division. You think, a pilot for an infantry division? Yes, they trained some of their artillerymen to be pilots for spotting for artillery and airplanes. His first combat mission was at Juno Beach on D-Day.
Wow.
And he was a lieutenant, and he led his troops. Well, first he killed 2 snipers, then led his troops through a tank mine-infested field until they got to where they were going to be stationed. But that night at 11:30 p.m., he was walking between command posts, and one of the Canadian sentries was nervous and opened fire on him with his machine gun, his Bren gun. Here's a picture of one.
Didn't he get hit 4 times or something?
He got shot 6 times.
6 times.
Whoa.
So I don't know if they can see that. A Bren gun is a machine gun that oftentimes is on a tripod or a swivel. So it's a big machine gun, but it's got the
Sometimes it's
the
on a
magazine.
little cart, like in Maximum Overdrive. No,
that might have been a Bren gun, but it's got the cart or the magazine comes off the top of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've shot those in a PlayStation game.
Right. So he got shot 6 times, 4 times in the leg, once in the right middle finger, which ended up getting amputated, and once in the chest. Now the one he got shot in the chest, his life was saved by a silver cigarette holder that his brother had given him that was in his pocket.
Wow.
So when he was actually flying as a Canadian pilot, he was, even though he wasn't actually in the Canadian Air Force, he was labeled at the time the craziest pilot in the Canadian Air Force. Here's the kind of plane he flew.
Wow.
Oh.
I'll show it to the camera. That is a
Tubman. Oh,
601.
Mark IV
It's a mail
Oscar.
plane.
It is a mail plane. Get rid of the right stuff. There we go. I don't want to edit this. I want to read it. Because at one point he decided to prove that it could be done, so he flew his plane slalom style down a row of telegraph poles.
Wow.
He was severely
That is great.
reprimanded, apparently.
I bet.
So after he left the military, he had listened to a radio play, and he thought he could do a way better job than the person doing the acting on it. So he got a scholarship in New York City at the Neighborhood Playhouse, a 2-year scholarship to learn acting. And one of his classmates there was Leslie Nielsen,
Oh, wow.
who was younger than
Yeah, when he
James.
did more serious things.
Yes.
I'm an actor.
So because of his experience with that and his talent, which he had as a young child, of doing accents, which you're born in or your parents are from Ireland, so you're hearing that accent all the time. Then he moved to Canada and possibly experienced French Canadian people speaking. You probably have a
In
weird,
Vancouver?
because there's other people that I know, a comedian I follow
in the
that
20s.
dad was from Detroit, but he and his family moved to Montreal, and so
Well, yeah.
he's really good at voices
Well,
too.
Montreal is, you know,
That's different,
French
I guess.
speaking.
Yes.
Vancouver is pretty far from the French-speaking Canadians.
But when he auditioned for Star Trek, he did 7 different accents for Gene Roddenberry.
Wow.
All at the same time.
For
Probably why he
different-
did so much voice acting in the
unintelligible.
animated series.
And it's interesting when Roddenberry asked him which one he'd like the best. He said, well, if he's an engineer, or if you want an engineer, in my experience, the best engineers are Scotsmen. So he went with that. And he chose Montgomery Scott as the character's name to honor his grandfather.
Cool.
So because of his voice acting skills, he did a lot of voice acting as far as being Scotty on Star Trek. In the original series, he was Sargon in Return to Tomorrow. He was M5 in The Ultimate Computer. He was the Mission Control voice in Assignment Earth. And in the Oracle, or he was the Oracle in For the World is Hollow and I've Touched the Sky.
Oh, cool.
And in the animated series, when they he didn't do much between Star Trek and then because he kind of got typecast. And people was like, well, you're Scotty.
Scotsman. Oh.
Yeah. They just think of him as Scotty.
Yeah.
So he was very happy when the opportunity came to reenact or redo Scotty in the animated series. I found it interesting that they didn't include Chekhov because they're trying to save money.
Right.
So he played James played Eric's, the alien navigator.
Yeah.
He also played Robert April, one of the first Captain Enterprise in one of the episodes. Over the span of the animated series, he played 50 different voices.
Whoa.
And one time he played seven different people in one episode.
Didn't Nichelle Nichols also do a lot of voices?
I think she did. When the movies came around, which he was once again happy to reenact his role because he wasn't getting many acting positions, he was involved in devising the Klingon. In fact, he devised the Klingon and Vulcan languages for the series or for the dialogue of the movies.
Cool.
Most of what he did outside of acting in Star Trek to make money to support his family was public appearances as Scotty and going to sci-fi conventions.
Nice.
Or Star Trek conventions. He was married 3 times. The first
3 times, fool.
and he had 7 children.
Wow.
Of the 3 different marriages. From 2 of the 3 marriages. His first wife, Janet Young, they had their kids were Larkin was their oldest, Deirdre, and then they had twins, Christopher and Montgomery.
Huh.
So he didn't go to his kids Montgomery, which I thought was interesting.
Nice.
And then he got married to Anita Yeagle, and they didn't have any children. And then when he was 54 years old, he was acting at a local playhouse, I think, and met a young actress that they fell in love. And they were married when he was 54 and she was 18.
Whoa.
And they had 3 children. William?
Nathaniel?
No,
and
they had
Superfly.
Eric, Thomas, and Sarah. And Sarah was born in 2000.
Whoa.
Whoa.
When did Doohan pass away?
1997.
He passed away in 2005.
Oh, okay.
Let me see. Yeah,
Seems
July
like
20th, 2005.
Seemed like a lot longer ago than that.
So his youngest daughter was 5 years old.
Wow.
He actually left public life in 2004 and announced that it was because he had Alzheimer's.
Mm.
But he ended up dying from heart complications that thought was from being exposed to certain elements in World War II. That might have come to eventually. And he wasn't very healthy towards the end. He, because of World War II injuries and his heavy drinking, he had diabetes, liver cirrhosis, osteoarthritis, high blood pressure, and hearing loss.
And transporter sickness.
And
yeah, because he was stuck in that transporter buffer for so long.
Like a decade or
100 years.
Yeah, a long time. I couldn't think of the word for 100 years, a century. So July 20th, 2005, at 5:30 a.m., he died in his house in Redmond, Washington.
Oh.
That's where he passed away. And this is where the confusion came in because it said that his place of rest, it has colons, and it said Puget Sound, Washington. We're trying to figure out how could that's not a city. If you look it up, it's like a region.
Yeah, it's a body of water. Too.
Well, when you get cremated, you could be laid to rest in a region.
Yeah.
Because he had his ashes spread around the Puget Sound.
So
except for 7 grams of it.
If you've been there, you may have breathed in.
Yeah, or if you.
James Doohan.
So Scotty's part of us all.
It's still not blowing around in the wind.
It's probably mixed into some sand.
Yeah.
Or it could end up in some water and then like
a
treatment plant.
Eat sand.
If you're a sand eater. Sounds like a bad. So 7 grams of it was saved because they launched him into outer space in a 4-minute suborbital flight on a Space Loft XL rocket in April 2007.
Cool.
They then attempted to launch him again on a Falcon 1 rocket in 2008, but the rocket failed 2 minutes into the flight. and he never reached the low Earth orbit they were shooting for.
Well, good thing he was already dead.
Once again, they launched him on a Falcon 9, which is a SpaceX rocket, just like the Falcon 1, on May 22nd, 2012, as part of a commercial orbital transportation service demo flight. So they were trying to get a module they could put stuff on, launch it with their Falcon 9, and have it made up with the space station with supplies.
Oh,
So he's been to space twice, post-mortem.
cool.
So they didn't release him into space. They just launched him up there.
Right. We actually found a website that has price ranges for different costs. It's like $2,000 for low Earth orbit.
That's where I'd want to be.
It's like
Do you stay in orbit?
$13,000 to be launched into deep space.
Mm.
I think somebody actually is resting on the moon.
Oh,
They
that's
sent
cool.
somebody to the moon.
Instead of sending
Our
him to
family was
pasture,
very
send him to the
upset.
moon.
It's
So-
okay, Grandpa's just...
But
On the
He's not
moon.
dead. We just sent him to the moon.
But Jimmy Doohan playing Scotty had been the inspiration for a lot of people to become engineers.
A lot of Scotsmen.
He was my favorite character.
And one of the people that he inspired to become an engineer and who later became an astronaut was, what's his name? Armstrong.
Tim Tebow.
Neil Armstrong.
Buzz Armstrong. Just
Because
kidding.
before Neil Armstrong was an astronaut, he was an engineer.
Oh. So there's still
And-
hope for us.
In 2007, Linlithgow, Scotland, claimed Montgomery Scott to have been born there, and they put a plaque up.
Okay.
So
The
he's
character, not the actor.
Yes, the character.
Okay.
Oh,
The
okay.
actor was born in Vancouver,
Yeah,
British Columbia.
that's funny.
So that's Scotty and James Doohan.
That's awesome.
Oh, one other part of his, he and Bill Shatner did not get along.
Right.
Oh.
In fact, he was quoted as saying, "I like Captain Kirk. Bill, no." I can imagine with his life experience and the strong personality of Bill Shatner, they probably wouldn't get along.
Mhm.
He's the only person that wasn't interviewed when Bill did like a documentary about memories of Star Trek. He did not participate in either book that Bill Shatner wrote about Star Trek memories. But it did appear that later in life, when they were both a lot older men, that they kind of patched things up and became friends.
Hmm.
Just like that Geronimo picture.
Yes. I was hoping you'd go there. All right.
So, James Doohan, the nine-fingered actor. Oh, and anytime you see that he doesn't have a finger in Star Trek, it's because there was an error with the filmography, because they were purposefully shooting it so that, because according to James Doohan, I have 9 fingers, but Scotty has 10.
Mhm.
Yeah, after I found out he was missing a finger, I
started
tried to
watching?
look for it, and you never see that.
Yeah, you
hand.
look for images of it, you can see, like, there's one where he's holding a handful of tribbles, but the finger just could be, like, hidden in the
Yeah.
stack. I saw one where he's, like, got some kind of alcohol bottle, but they've got his hands in such a way you can't tell.
Mhm.
It's quite interesting.
Yeah.
It's a fun game to play.
Hide the finger.
In honor of him,
Wait a minute.
you can make it a
Sounds
drinking
bad.
game. In honor of James and his dad, you can make it a drinking game. Every time you can see his finger missing, you have to take a drink.
You don't see it much, though, so it
That's
wouldn't be a
true.
very good drinking game.
Every time you see it, then. No.
Okay.
Every time he says a line.
Every time he's on screen.
There you go. That's the news.
Thank you.
Next week we'll talk about your hurt. No, I'm just kidding.
You'll
Michelle Nichols'
you'll be
brother
wearing
was a
the
hell
mini
mob.
skirt to go with that too.
Well, I liked Scotty so well that I named my son after him. So.
Yes, you did. Somebody asked me why I didn't do that. I was like, I couldn't get away with it.
Well, it
Yeah,
has-
lucky enough to marry someone that's
yeah,
that has a family name.
yeah. Luckily, my wife's dad goes by Scott, so
Would be cool if we were related to him.
that would be cool.
Your son, I mean.
I doubt it.
You know, if we were related to your son,
Oh,
that'd be cool.
that would be cool. There's probably some genetic testing we could do to figure that out. but-
Probably. Somebody looks just like you.
Yeah, he does look just like me.
Smaller, less furry.
That's true. For now. He's getting bigger. If you want to help us out, tell a friend about the show and head over to EnginerdyShow.com. Click on the Amazon link to do your Amazon shopping or buy our new logo on a t-shirt.
I should be getting mine in a couple weeks.
Nice. I'm definitely getting a mug and a t-shirt, so I should order those tomorrow.
You should do it.
Our next segment is consumption, where we talk about things we've read, watched, or listened to.
That was weak, but
So for this week, for Halloween, my wife and I decided to get a couple movies. We watched The Mummy.
that's
Oh,
good.
you
I
love
would like to
me?
see that.
We watched The Ghost in the Shell, but
That's good.
there was no ghosts. It wasn't as spooky as I was hoping.
Oh, yeah.
No, the Ghost in the
We ran into that.
No, I mean Ghost in the Shell is fine. I thought it was rather strange, but
it was very weird.
my wife and LG liked it, so
Have you watched any of the anime?
no. But after I started watching, I'm like, this is based on the anime, isn't it?
Yes, most definitely.
Okay. The Mummy has Tom Cruise in it.
Mm-hmm.
He plays a little bit different character than he's played in other movies. It's kind of a cad in this one. And Russell Crowe's in it,
Oh, yeah.
and some other actors that I don't know their names.
We're going to watch that very soon.
I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't what I expected.
What do you call a bird in a pile of leaves?
Russell Crowe.
Yes.
Ah, got it.
It's like, it's got to have something to do with something we just said.
Yeah, and then I already said I watched Young Frankenstein the day before
It's
Halloween.
Frankenstein!
I watched a few episodes of The Good Place. Have you heard of that one?
No, I'm only going to the bad place.
You don't want to go to the bad place.
There's a pretty good book I read
Dick,
called The Bad
Dick.
Place.
A bear has two mouths. You have to watch show them.
Is it a comedy?
It's a comedy.
Oh.
It stars who's the guy from Cheers? Ted
Norm.
Danson.
Oh,
Oh, Ted Danson. He's still alive?
He's very old in the movie.
Does he have white
Very
hair?
show. Yeah.
I've seen him in other stuff.
I saw him as a good doctor once.
Anyway, so the premise behind The Good Place is when you die, if
I have heard of this.
if you meet certain,
criteria.
well, they have like every action you do has either plus or minus points, and they add up the points that you get, and if you score high enough, you get to go to the good place.
Nice.
Otherwise, you go to the bad place, and the bad place apparently. They played here's a clip of what's happening in the bad place now, and it's like these people screaming. Haley Slates says, "The bear has two mouths." Anyway, it's a rather silly show that's about this woman that, minor spoilers for the first episode, but she goes to the good place, and it turns out they've made a mistake.
Grammatically
She's
error?
actually
Or
not a very good
math
person.
Oh.
Anyway, so I've watched a few episodes of that.
Where's that at?
It's on Netflix.
I
I've
saw
seen
an
it.
ad for it or something.
It's entertaining enough to watch.
Okay.
It's kind of
Might give it a
strange, but
shot.
were you me for Halloween?
what?
Based on your consumption list.
Oh, I guess so.
Mine's rather short.
So I watched some of The Zoo.
I've seen that.
I've seen some episodes here and there.
I think I've watched
Mostly
a season and a half of it.
So my wife's been watching it,
Oh, my
and
wife
sometimes
watched it.
I'll watch part of it with
That was what my wife and I were watching together.
her. But I don't really have much to say about it because I haven't watched enough of it. I finished the book Wizard and Glass.
The Dark Tower, book 4.
Book 4 of the Dark
Is that
Tower
the one with the
series.
train?
No, it's
It starts
Well, it
with
starts
them on the
with the
train,
train.
but
Oh, okay.
most of it is the flashback to when Roland Deschain was a
Oh, right,
gun,
right.
first became a
a
gunslinger,
wee gunslinger.
and how
He
he
had all
falls in
stingers.
love, and yeah, it was pretty good. I like it.
Oh, spoiler alert.
And then I watched the entire series of Stranger Things 2,
What?
or season.
Yeah, LFG was complaining that you'd gotten way ahead of him and finished it before he...
Well, okay, so when I got home from work Friday, LFG actually started it,
Yeah.
and so me and LFG and the wife watched it. The wife, I shouldn't refer to her like that.
No.
She's my loving wife.
The
W.
little lady.
we watched half of the series or the season.
I call my wife the captive.
The
I
captain.
thought you were going to say captain. The captain and I were watching The Mummy.
Hi,
Anyway,
Captain.
so Saturday morning when me and my wife
You watch
got up,
cartoons?
LFG was at work, so we were like, okay, let's finish this. And so there was like an episode and a half left when LFG got home from work. And so we like paused it, and he went in his bedroom and watched
Oh.
from where he was at. It was like, we were thinking, if we'd started earlier, we probably would have finished it before he got home, but we didn't know when he was coming home.
Oh.
But anyway, it's good. I like it.
I like the first
encourage
episode.
all to watch,
Okay.
especially if you dig 80s nostalgia.
Oh, they're gonna say dig Doug.
Especially if you dig Doug, you should watch this.
LFG had a weird reaction to one of the characters' hairstyles.
Really, I'm not surprised.
I was like, that's totally like 80s rocker hair. Like,
I can't believe he had a strong reaction.
I was like,
to
in fact, I
something.
think there's pictures of my aunt and my uncle both with that same haircut at one point in the
Are you
80s.
talking about the one guy
The new guy at the
from
muscle
California?
car? Yeah.
Yeah. The hair was horrible, but it was something you'd see back then.
That's the 80s
yeah.
hair. That's what it was.
Yeah, anyway.
Poodle perm.
I watched Spider-Man Homecoming.
What do you think?
It was really good.
Didn't what's his name do a good job, Batman?
Yes, he did. Yeah. And the twist with when you find out
I can't remember his name.
Michael Keaton.
Michael
Michael Keaton. Yeah, I was like blown away when
The twist
prom
happened. Yes, that was crazy.
And it's got the new Marvel thing. It's got humor, action,
Iron Man.
romance.
Yes.
Oh, the end where the
Yeah.
press conference.
Uh-huh.
That was pretty funny.
Did you-
Happy sent him to the car.
was that wasn't that the one with the after the credits
Yeah,
thing with Captain America?
Yeah. that got old actually pretty quick.
Oh, the after the credits?
Yeah,
Waiting
it
for
was
the
funny
credits to
at
end?
first, and then
Like the first
Like that
couple
particular one,
seconds of it? Or
just the fact they do after the credits things.
no, they were showing like a bunch of, maybe it was after that even, they were showing a bunch of different Captain America public
Public announcements.
service PSAs.
There you go.
And finally it was like, all right, just turn it off. I think we got through all of them, but anyways,
You watched
really
it
good.
on DVD?
Yeah, we
Blu-ray?
redboxed it.
Okay.
We watched Dracula 2000
I've seen that.
on Amazon Prime.
I don't remember any of it, but I
It
remember watching
has in it Christopher Plummer,
it. Lisa Kudrow.
Nathan Fillion.
I'm just kidding. Lisa Kudrow's not in it.
No, but it does have Nathan Fillion.
Nathan Fillion's in it.
So it's basically about Nathan Fillion. No,
It's an autobiography.
He's a captain
Oh.
of a weird
Church.
spaceship.
he's a priest actually.
He's a writer that follows the first right?
Basically, it takes place in the year 2000, and you find
That's
out
the future.
yes, you find out that Dracula couldn't be killed, and so they just have him basically locked up, and the Van
Smart.
Helsing family is kind of the caretaker
Oh.
to keep him locked up, but he gets out. And
Did he
He's
steal
killed
a van?
pretty easy in the movies from the 30s because they just like kick his coffin out in daylight and he.
Oh, he's harder to kill in this one.
Yeah.
It was okay for. It felt like a '90s movie.
Was it made in the 90s or was it made in 2000?
Well, it came out in 2000.
so it was made
Oh.
in the 90s.
Did you guys see the '95 movie, the Mel Brooks one, Dracula Dead and Loving It?
Yes. Yeah.
It had the guy from Wings in it and Leslie Nielsen.
Oh, yeah, I think I've seen that.
Do you remember the scene where he's driving the stake into this vampire's heart, and every time he hits it, like gallons of blood
Yeah.
just go everywhere?
And the other guy, the Mel Brooks character, right, is hiding, so he doesn't get any blood on him.
Yeah. Well, so I read a little bit about that. The actor, there was the actor from Wings that was doing. I don't remember his name.
Which one?
Not Joe, but the other guy.
Okay, his brother?
Yeah. But he was not told how much blood there was going to be, and so that was all like filmed with his natural reaction. I don't see his name there.
He's not in the top 5.
Wait, is that's the guy from Ghostbusters 2?
Peter
And numbers.
Mickle.
There he is.
Steven Weber.
Weber.
Or Weber, however you say
Weber.
it. Anyway, I just thought of that movie after I watched Young Frankenstein.
Yeah. That was funny.
Apparently, it got 11% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Really? I thought it was funny, but as a teenager.
I want to
Right.
watch Wooden Spittin' again with Jim Carrey.
I don't know if
yeah.
I've seen that.
That's an old one. And then Amazon or Netflix came up with this Netflix original
Stephen King.
Stephen.
Oh yeah, I
It's based
saw that on there.
a Stephen King novella called 1922.
Is it good?
Not really.
Okay.
Is it better or worse than the Stephen King movies we watched thus far? Or...
Better.
Okay.
It
That's
has.
not saying much, but
It stars Thomas Jane. It's really well acted. It's just. It felt like it dragged on and there wasn't much of payoff, and it wasn't scary. We watched it on Halloween,
Yeah.
thinking, oh, it's a horror movie, you know, but it really. I mean, there was
you guys
some
aren't good
gore and
judges.
gruesomeness, but it wasn't scary.
And it wasn't funny, so
It actually was not very funny. So it's basically a guy. It takes place in 1922, and it's a farmer played by Thomas Jane, and his wife and teenage son live with him, and he talks his son into helping him kill his wife, and then
Sounds horrifying.
things just go out of control after that. So
Hi,
you're
Jason,
basically
too.
just watching all these
Hi,
horrible
Jason.
things happen to everybody in the show.
Everybody got away for it too, for your dead kids.
So it was, the acting was really good, and it started off pretty good, but halfway through it and more, I was kind of like,
That's the part where
I
Stephen
think I'm
got tired
done
of.
with this.
Oh.
So
In the Stephen King book, that's where you got bored with the story.
yeah, maybe it was. I don't know. Can't fault the actors. I think it just.
Happens.
I was in the mood for something scary.
well,
So-
you picked the wrong thing.
You should have
I
watched what I watched.
What did
Okay,
you
what
watch?
did you watch?
Jurassic World.
That's not scary.
There's intense parts.
That doesn't make it
Intense
scary.
is different than scary.
There's a part where in the little glass bowl thing.
I was not scared at all during that part.
Yeah.
What about the part where the Velociraptor jumps out at the guy in the
Oh, like
in
a
the
jump
lab?
scare?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you cheer like I did when the T-Rex came to save the day?
No.
Oh, spoiler alert. I thought it was awesome.
Oh,
Anyways, I watched it on Blu-ray. I own
I
it.
thought of something else the T-Rex reminded me of that I finished, but
Go
finish
ahead.
your stuff.
No, go ahead.
Okay, I finished the Scott Sigler novel, The Writer.
Oh, I haven't read
It's
those
about
yet.
dilation.
Oh, I should
So
watch
it's
that.
in the
Awesome.
set in the future, like
They're
what,
2000s.
700 years or 400 years.
Yeah, a long time.
And they've got different alien races. It's set in his Galactic Football League universe.
Right.
And they have this Dinolition, which is they have teams from different worlds with prehistoric huge creatures, and they play games against each other, like capture the flag or jousting or dismount or
And the dinosaurs like eat the other riders, right?
yeah. So they have armor. So if you get eaten, it goes into like protect mode, so you don't die. But you just have to wait till the dinosaur
Or passes you.
passes you. And it was really good. There's lots of the main character rides a T-Rex.
I almost want to. I know he's really busy, but I like to listen to him narrate his books.
He does the writer.
Is there audio?
That's how
Oh,
I
that's how you
listened
listen
to
to
it.
it. I
Yeah.
thought you may have read it. Never mind.
I didn't read it. I listened to it
Where do you get it? Website?
on his stream, his podcast stream. You can probably get it.
I look for it.
Get it before it's too late. Go to his website, scottsigler.com.
Oh,
Back to you.
so after watching Jurassic World, which I enjoyed, I
It's a
liked
good
that
one.
movie. I like the use of the velociraptors.
Yeah.
I had a thought though, because they're gonna go take the velociraptors and send them on the track, right? But at that point, the guy that was like their alpha and that trained them was nowhere near them,
Oh boy.
and just showed up,
Yeah.
ran, or we have to call it, I guess, and showed up.
Right.
Or were they gonna try to do that without him at all?
Yeah.
That would have got even worse than it did.
Yeah.
Which was funny.
Yeah.
And I think the only reason is
Hilarious.
they turned against him was because they thought he was teaming up. Maybe they thought that they'd been preempted by these other guys they didn't like.
Oh, see, it's been a while since I've seen it, but I thought they were kind of like being loyal to the other dinosaur that had some velociraptor.
Well, that made it so he could communicate with them.
Okay.
But later, when he shows up without the other jerk guys,
Oh, they just
they
didn't
didn't come
like
to
him.
his side. I think so.
Oh.
Anyway,
I think I've
Was
only
it
seen that
D'Onofrio?
once.
yes,
Wasn't he one of the jerk guys?
he was.
He was the
But he was
guy.
a jump scare guy that
Hmm.
he's talking and thinking there's going to be this big long dialogue with the characters, and this velociraptor jumps out and gets him.
Nice.
So he's like holding his hand, like, stay back, look, I'm okay. Good boy, good boy. No, I'm thinking, oh, man, it's a girl, they told you that already. That, like, grabs his hand.
Hmm.
Oh.
But the T-Rex is awesome.
Yeah.
And it's the same one, because there's a part where they see it, and
Mhm.
you can see the old scars.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
But it's working together with the velociraptors this time.
Hmm.
Because they were in a Geronimo picture together.
That's right.
In New York. Wait.
And then the big water one comes and saves the final day,
Yeah.
which is good. It looked like some of the pterodactyls they had been playing with genetically, because some of them looked like they had like T-Rex heads instead of.
Maybe it's just a different type of fly dinosaur thing.
Well, I took it as showing an example of them genetically making monsters and not dinosaurs anymore. But one of the favorite things is like when the two kids are like, "Don't leave us." Oh, well, I'll never leave you. And they actually want to stay with the guy.
Oh.
It would be him.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we won't leave your side. Then I watched a Stephen King based television series called The Mist,
Oh, yeah.
season 1.
Oh, I missed that one.
Like that much. Oh.
Based
Based on the book.
I think you've
Yes.
mentioned it before.
I think I mentioned when I started it. I finished it. I really, there's only one character I really liked. I think all the characters were well characterized, whatever, but there's only one of
Not
that I would
likable.
like. I don't.
That you would hang out with.
Right, the rest of it, he writes such flawed characters,
Yeah.
like horribly flawed, and then just like throws them into a pot and mixes them together for something bad happening.
He likes to do that.
Yes, he does. And the bad thing is, they like to take the characters that you might most associate with,
And kills him.
and either kills them and or makes bad stuff happen to them, like getting falsely accused of stuff, or getting attacked constantly, or like being totally misunderstood by every other flawed character in the entire thing, which kind of is weird. It makes you root against characters.
Hey, that's what he wants you to do.
I guess it does get a reaction. I recommend it. It's good. I was wondering, how can this be a TV show? Isn't there going to be like an ending to this? But they set it up so there's possibility for
Just
season
goes
2.
on forever.
I should probably read that Stephen King book, because I've read
It's actually pretty good.
several different things
I
that
think
are
you should stick
associated.
with miniseries.
I think he's good at miniseries.
Yeah.
If this has been a miniseries and they ended it, it would have been fine. I was thinking
Like
while I was
Under the
watching
Dome,
that,
they should have just ended it after one season. It would have been more closely
maybe
to
it'll
the
be the
book.
same with Mist. I know that I really enjoyed one of my favorite things of Stephen King is in his miniseries, The Stand. I really appreciate that. And oddly enough, unlike a lot of things, he didn't have that bad of portrayal of like people that have religion in that one.
Yeah. Basically, both. It was very religious based.
Yes, where he doesn't seem to be that kind of person. Let's see. Oh, then I started watching a TV show called Wanted. It's a Netflix original. It's an Australian production. It's about two women that usually are at the bus stop at the same time, end up getting kidnapped together,
Hmm.
and it's very interesting. It's their survival, trying to survive.
Weird.
So it's pretty good. I'd check it out.
Okay, I saw it on somewhere.
That's pretty much it.
Okay, our next segment is Nerd Cred, where we talk about nerdy things we've been up to.
And I got some nerd cred for y'all.
Oh boy.
So I have a friend at work named Rick.
Yeah.
You've been to his house. We did some VR at his house.
Okay.
Old house.
Yes, his old house. He invited me and my wife to his new house to try another thing he's got on his virtual reality headset or computer. The Enterprise.
Whoa.
You can walk around
Original
inside the
series?
Enterprise,
What's
the
the-
next generation.
Oh.
Yes. So
Oh.
I got to explore the Enterprise. I walk around the bridge,
That's really
captain's quarters, the
cool. Was the captain in there?
observation.
That'd be creepy.
No, he wasn't. I went to the engineering section. Saw the
Cool.
warp core. Went to sick bay. I went to Data's quarters and Worf's quarters.
Wow.
So do you have to pretend like you're walking? Do you go places?
No, it has a little
Controller, so you can.
controller so you can point and it'll
So you're
put
more
you
like
there.
Captain April. After
There were a couple bugs. When you're on the bridge, sometimes you accidentally teleport yourself outside into space,
Well, so cues around.
but you don't see the outside of the Enterprise. You just see the outside of the bridge.
Oh,
But you can
Huh.
hit an emergency transport and get beamed back to the bridge.
is that like when one of the characters
Around the
falls to the
turbo.
deck when they're going through that space
Yeah.
thing?
I guess. I didn't do this, but Rick told me that you can go to the shuttle bay and pilot a shuttle outside of the Enterprise and look at it from
outside.
outside, but he
That's
says
kinda
it's
cool.
really hard to control.
That
Well,
would be
shuttle
cool.
would be.
Yeah. But it was really cool. You can turn on, what do they call them, NPCs or...
Non-playable characters.
Yes.
Yes.
And I didn't do that till I got in the sick bay and I turned it on.
Was the
And
doctor there?
It didn't have any of the cast and crew.
Well,
from-
obviously. How would
But
they?
there was a doctor in there and there was somebody on the
They should have
inside
had
the scanner.
Robert Picardo.
Yeah, they should.
Oh, that was funny. Wrong show, but yeah.
They should have you look out like 10 forward, look outside,
Oh,
and
I
see
didn't
like
try
Captain
to find
Janeway
10
floating by.
forward. I didn't find 10 forward.
Oh,
Oh.
But I didn't
it's
think
deck
about that.
10
Yeah,
forward.
right.
Only I'd known.
But it was cool. In one of the spots, you could read like the bios of the main crew or the the bridge crew and stuff.
Cool.
Awesome.
It was pretty sweet.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. And he's got a pretty good new house that he bought.
Nice.
Cool.
So if Rick listens to this, thanks, Rick. That was a lot of fun.
You're the man, Rick.
His name is
That's-
actually Manrick.
Manrick?
No.
That's what Rick's
That's-
short for.
Oh, I thought it was short for Ricardo.
Oh, maybe.
Montalban?
I think that's my nerd cred this week, although I did point out a flaw in a show that my wife and I were watching together.
So it sounds
That's
like
not how EMPs work! Ugh! Anyway,
sounds like we need to come up with a show nickname for your wife.
oh,
I screw up. I usually say T-Viddy, but
yeah,
I say her name all the time.
half the time you say her actual name. I don't know if she wants me to mention her name on the show, so I will refrain for now.
Well, and Broomhilda doesn't roll off the tongue. I don't know. All right. I kind of already talked about mine earlier.
Oh, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, my lead at work, Rob, was telling us if I have a heart attack, because he's
Oh,
he's about our parents' age.
okay.
It's like if I have a heart attack, here's where my baby aspirin are that are chewable. Get these out for me. And my coworker was confused because he assumed he would be unconscious. He's like, "Oh, so we like break them up and pour them in your mouth?" He's like, "No, I'll be awake. I just need you to get them for me." It's like, "Well, if he is asleep, you can just chew them up for him and then mama bird them into his mouth." And yeah,
They
That's
were
funny.
disgusted. Oh,
yes.
So this was kind of confusing when I walked past the TV in our living room and saw my wife watching a show. She was watching Stranger Things season 1.
oh,
I was like,
that's also a good season of the show.
good. I was talking to her about it. And she's a little confused about some of the stuff.
Oh,
We should probably figure out later.
Demogorgons or gorgons.
I don't think she's seen those yet.
Oh.
I can't wait to see her reaction when stuff starts closing on the wall.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so maybe
Yeah,
I'll sit and watch it with
The
her and I can try to
second
explain it to her.
season didn't seem as scary. Not that the first one was super scary, but well,
Okay.
I still liked it.
It's very nostalgic.
Yes.
He's sitting there putting his toys in his box. And there's
Well, and
several
it's cool
toys
just looking at stuff in the background.
yeah.
And it's just like, oh, dude, I know what that is.
Oh,
Oh,
he
I know
pulled
what
up-
that is now.
He pulled up next to the sheriff pulled up next to that Toyota van.
Oh yeah. Yep. I'm like, hey, our friend John Daniels.
This was not as cool a paint job as that one though.
Right.
That one was cherry.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where they found some of these vehicles.
Yeah.
They must just
fixed
pushed them
up.
into place and just painted them.
Well, then we were trying to figure out what the vehicle that was, and figured out that it was a Ford Pinto.
Yeah, it says it right on the door.
Yeah. Well, we missed that or something.
So
Interesting.
today at football practice, me and Tyler, one of the other coaches, were standing behind the goalpost because we're doing kick or field goals. So we catch the kicks that go over and throw them back because that's our fun. Because we don't get much fun. That's what we tell the players. Hey, no, you can't come back here. This is our fun. But he facetiously asked one of the players, "Well, why is the sky blue?" Because the player asked why he couldn't come over there with us and try to catch him. We said because. He's like, well, that's not a good answer. It's like, well, why is the sky blue? Expecting the answer to be because. I was like, well, actually, Tim.
Oh
So
no.
then we had a conversation, and then he's talking about it. Well, it's like, yeah, light's like all the colors. And he's like, no, that'd be black. And I was like, no, only if you're talking pigment. And he's like, what do you do for a living? I was like, an engineer. He's like,
I should have known better.
We were
than
just
to
like,
start this
yeah,
conversation.
We were talking at work about how, kids don't learn the light color
yeah,
wheel anymore. They only learn the
pigments.
pigment one. So they don't realize that,
Pigment?
pigment,
Can-
zombie pigment.
He's not getting the cue.
Oh.
Well, there you go.
I wasn't going to do that today.
No, you were.
Aw.
I decided earlier when we were talking about the French not to do it.
We were talking about French. We're talking about pigment.
It's
You're talking about
culturally
French
insensitive.
Canadians.
A long time
earlier.
ago.
Yeah.
Oh, and I went on a long retconning of, once again, why the stormtroopers appear to be bad shots in different situations.
Mm.
And I ended up with, when he was talking about Force Move Endor and how I told my friend that it was because the Emperor, everyone knows this, as a child, had a Ewok slave / pet that he had a soft part for. So it issued. It also said it was possibly because they had work documents that were given to the guards of the shield generator on the Force Move Endor, warning them with caution statements about the indigenous population being violent, possibly, and to avoid them, and they just didn't read that part of their work document.
Happens a lot.
Well, it was in the general notes.
That's right.
Nobody
Yeah.
reads
No one
it.
reads that.
No one reads that.
Section 4, that's just throwaway section.
That's like when my boss today was like, oh, I thought we'd just move that from the special notes section just to the general notes. I'm like, they'll never see it. He's like, yeah, but they should know how to do that anyway, Mike.
They should.
They should know they should do that? Really?
All right.
If they... Yeah.
Anyway, so retconning Star Wars is one of my pastimes.
Yeah.
But then he wasn't believing me in anything else I was telling about stuff that actually was happening to me.
Alright, thanks for your nerd cred, folks.
Yeah.
If you guys have nerd cred, send it in. We'd like to read other people's nerd cred.
Yeah, let's
in
get
our segment called
other people.
Feedback.
in on the action.
So Matthew
yeah.
he
Formerly a passersby.
Facebooked us saying that he thinks that the Ghostbusters, the new Ghostbusters, where they go out into the black bars, is one of the biggest sins in cinema history.
Is he being facetious?
I hope so, because otherwise I can't be his friend anymore.
Why, you liked it?
I thought it was
Easily
cool.
used?
I thought it was cool.
You couldn't do it like old school cinema, like if you had real...
Well, see, here's
video.
why. Because I don't like going to the theater,
Oh.
And you wouldn't see that at the theater.
Right.
You would only see it if you're watching it at home. So it's
But the
designed for people that don't like going to the theater.
But the best experience should always be in the theater, as far as video.
I was thinking if you were watching that 3D, you
That's
would
probably what it
probably
was.
see it.
Who watches 3D though?
I don't know.
I was gonna go
You
see
get
a movie
headache.
last night, and the one I wanted wasn't at an appropriate time in normal non-3D, so I didn't get to go see it.
On Halloween.
Yes.
So thanks for your
Should
feedback.
have come to my
Matthew.
house. We watched the
You
Mummy.
didn't invite me.
I didn't know you needed inviting because I didn't know you were not busy.
I almost invited you to my house.
I was the only one of my family
you
wasn't
know-
busy.
You
was
know
me.
what?
And
My
I ended up
wife-
going to bed at 9:30.
My wife
They were watching
actually
it in the nude.
mentioned something about we should see if you guys were busy, and
I
so
totally
my bad. Totally my bad. Sorry, dude.
So. Oh man.
My wife had your back, and I
You've
failed
ruined
you.
Christmas.
Yep, Christmas is over. Canceled.
Oh.
If you want to contact us, send us an email. We're engineerdyshow@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook like Matthew did by searching for The Engineerdy Show, or go on to Twitter @Engineerdy Show and send us a tweet there. Support the show by telling a friend or two. Go to the website, engineerdyshow.com.